All right, everybody, welcome to the No Bullshit podcast for contractors. That's right, contractors. I almost slipped up there. Listen, I'm here with Scott. Scott has an electrical contracting company. I'm going to let him tell you about his electrical contracting company. But I want you to, this will be the determining factor whether or not you stick with us or if you just, hang up, right? Which is Scott, within a very short period of time, he's been with us for a year. He was able to increase his net profit by 56%. He was able to increase his gross profit by 76%. Okay, guys, this is fucking huge. Here's the fucking awesomeness behind it. He didn't, he's only increased his sales by 4%, but the results of getting things dialed in regarding his pricing, regarding running his jobs, his billing, and so many other aspects of running his business, turning him and leading him towards the pathway of a champion CEO, has given him exponential results compared to the past. And this, by the way, if you're listening in, this is, him getting those levels of increase, okay, annual increase, even with 7 months of not knowing how to price properly and 7 months of just not doing a lot of things that, that he could have done properly, and he is doing properly now. Until right now, this very moment, contractors have always been on their own, not as tradespeople, but being alone and knowing how to take their business to the next level. They call us working class, they call us blue collar. They say that we don't have the smarts to become the business owner that we're meant to be. That is such bullshit. You have the ability. You're more than any of that. The question really is, where do you get the insights that you need specific to contracting to systemize your business so you can get your profits to pay for your freedom? I'm Andrew Houston. I'm going to show you how to make more profits, how to get more control, how to get more freedom in the simplest, quickest way possible without any of that bullshit. Welcome to the No Bullshit podcast for contractors. Listen up, level up, and if you learn something, like the video, subscribe to the channel, change your business, change your life. So Scott, welcome, brother. How's things going today?
Thank you. Things are going well.
Awesome.
Things are great.
This is your first podcast, right?
Yeah, never done one before. So hopefully it all makes sense.
Cool, man. So listen, you got the scruff going. I got a little bit of scruff going, so we're gonna scruff it out, all right?
Yeah, sounds good.
So, when we look back in time, let's talk a little bit about some of the challenges. I mean, we do this podcast because, I'm super passionate about helping contractors. And as a matter of fact, this is the first time I've ever said this, but I really do believe that the people that are part of the Prof for Contractors family, like you and hundreds of others, you guys want other contractors, good people contractors, ethical contractors, you want them to succeed as well. Would that be a correct statement?
Absolutely. I mean, that is the epitome of the entire PFC community, right? It's not a competition. There's other electricians here in Ottawa that are part of the group. We help each other, right? It's not a conflict. It's just everyone succeeding together. So I'd say that.
Totally, man.
That's an amazing part about the group.
Totally. So, I wanted to thank you for taking time out of your day. Okay, you're an owner. You're busy. You got lots of things to do. So on behalf of all the audience listening in, on behalf of me and the whole team, it's been great having you part of the family. With that being said, we got to go back into a little bit of the dark ages with you. We got to go back into a time so that other people listening in can reflect and go, holy fuck, I'm not alone. Oh my God, that's me. Yeah. Or, oh, I didn't know that. So let's go back. It's been a year, right? Roughly?
Yeah, a year, almost to the day.
There you go. Yeah. That's cool. That's super cool. I didn't know that. So, we go back a year, okay? Let's talk a little bit about, we're going to talk about, the sort of the bit of the darkness, the challenges, the issues, and then we'll come back to what were some of the solutions. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. So let's break this down. Again, this is the No Bullshit podcast for contractors. We do have structure to this, but there's no rules of, don't say this and don't say that. I don't think you guys are going to get the most out of this if we're trying to hide things from you. I think we got to deal with the brutal reality, right? So let's go back and we look at some of the challenges you had. So when we look at running the jobs, you can start anywhere you want, running jobs, pricing jobs. Where were things at when you first started with us?
Yeah. So, I mean, the core of the company has remained the same. So I'm a co-owner
Right.
Of Remote Electric, myself and my business partner, Rob. We have been working together for a decade now, but we started the company, will be our fourth full year starting in January.
Cool.
So, and we have one apprentice, Matt, he's a fifth year.
Right.
And so rewind a year ago, we were with, there was multiple factors. One, we were running around all the time, trying to keep track of different jobs, right? Who's doing this? Who's doing that? Rob would say something on the phone. I'd say another thing to another client. And then suddenly we're caught in the middle of a scheduling conflict with no one to do the work. And so that was it's an embarrassing pain to have because you're picking up the phone going, oh, I'm sorry, we actually double booked you, right? So we need to push you back. That was a struggle.
And let me just pause you there. I just want to bring this to a bit of reality for everybody, okay? And just to make sure that I'm getting this right. So I believe what you're saying is that you guys are running this business out of your head, out of your hearts, right? Really, you wanted things to go well, right? Your heart was in the right place, out of your head, out of your heart, out of your mouth.
Yeah.
But that was it. It wasn't, you didn't have systems, you didn't have structure. It was like, you know, if we get busier, we like exponentially have to try and, you know, stay on top of all the stuff, like mentally, right? Is it true? Am I right?
It was draining. It was very hard. It was a headache on a daily basis. And not only that, you thought you didn't have work, and then suddenly there's 5 other jobs you sort of just forgot about, right? And suddenly it's time to get on them. And then about like the next challenge was our pricing. And I would say it wasn't that we didn't know we were valuable. We literally didn't know our value. Like we ran a business for 2.5 years by that point with made up pricing, having no real idea as to what we were charging compared to everybody else, first off, and where we needed to be. So learning the break even and all that was a big benefit.
Massive. Now, I want to catch on something here. You said you didn't really recognize, elaborate a little bit more on this word called value.
Yeah. So there's always the sense of, you know, you need to know your worth. And it wasn't that we didn't know we were worth something. It was literally what that number was.
Yes.
So we valued ourselves. We knew we were good at what we did. We just didn't know what to charge for that value. And so that was one of our biggest setbacks for the first couple of years.
So, you know, people listening in, I want you to understand, okay? We're going to get into, by the way, if you're listening in on this podcast, if you've listened in on previous podcasts, you already know what I'm going to say, right? Which is, you know, the no bullshit part is, I want you guys, we're not going to get on this podcast and say, you know, all these issues and then not tell you what, you know, Scott or others, you know, did. I'm not going to hold that back from you, okay? So, I mean, now there's a certain level of detail that we can go to, and there's a certain level of detail that we can't go to, because the reality is, right, Scott, there's templates, there's tools, there's a process, there's principles, right? Like I can verbalize, Scott and I will verbalize what he used to solve some of these issues and the principles behind it. But let's be clear. This conversation is all in our fucking head too, isn't it? Like we're not, you're listening in, and there's actually a template, guys. There's a process. There's, you know, how to look at your profit and loss statement. We're going to get into that and what to pull from it. And what are the experts? Who are the experts you need to get involved and things of that nature? Okay. So we're going to get there. Okay. So pricing was an issue. You're pricing blind, right?
Yeah.
Potentially pricing yourself out of freaking business.
We were.
Elaborate on that. Is that really true?
Yeah, absolutely. And it wasn't, we joined PFC and I went head first into the whole program tried to change a whole bunch of things. That was great and also stressful at the same time. Do the learnings, follow them, but don't try and change every aspect of your business.
Right.
Because that is going to drive you as an owner into the ground, and it's also going to make everyone around you make their heads spin even more. So, yeah, we learned right after the April live event.
Right.
The second day was when I figured out if we didn't change things, we were going to be.
I remember
done.
that.
Yeah,
I actually remember that.
A rough second day. So
I remember you coming up. I remember the look in your face.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I didn't sleep the first night afterwards because it hit me that we were going to lose. By the time October to April, we had already lost, I think, $60,000. We're behind $60K.
That's right. Yep.
This is a company that only does $325,000 a year right now in revenue. So $60,000 is not a small amount of money. And if you put that across the whole year, that's a third of our revenue. Right?
Well,
6 months.
Let's be clear. Let's be clear about the 60,000. Okay?
Yeah.
So 60,000 was $60,000 lost.
Yeah.
Right? True?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, hold it. I did this on the last podcast. I'll probably fucking do it like 50% of the podcast. Just so that you guys understand the basic math is so critical. Basic math. What was your net profit at the time? Single digits if you're lucky. You're probably negative.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I think they're negative.
Okay.
So
let's say.
On a consistent basis.
Okay, ready? Let's say that. Let's say that you magically you had a net profit, right, of 10%. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So if your net profit was 10%, you would have had to cover the 60,000. How much sales would you have had to get?
I think my math isn't that great off the top of my head, but I think it was like $600,000.
Everybody listening in, $600,000. So Scott, you're getting a little bit of coaching here too, right? Right, guys, you're experiencing coaching. So this is what I'm talking about. Like even Scott is like, what? Like, yeah. So Scott would have had to work if he was at 10%, but he wasn't. He wasn't even at 5. At 5%, guys. Okay, think about this, right? At 10% net profit, if he did $600,000 worth of work and he made 10 points on the bottom line, he'd make $60,000 to go pay for the debt he had of $60,000. But that wasn't the case. At 5%, just to make it easy for everybody listening in, you double it. What? He'd have to do $1.2 million in sales to cover the 60, but he wasn't even 5%. So what's the moral of the story? The moral of the story is he would have never, ever caught up to paying the debt. Everybody listening in. Interesting. Unless he made some major, massive changes. Right, Scott?
Yeah, absolutely. And so, and to be clear, the 7 months consisted of me taking the PFC learnings and lessons and starting to tweak them. And then what I found, and we'll get into it kind of a bit later, I think, is I got lazy for a bit because things started to go well as soon as we started PFC. And then, okay, I'm just going to kind of coast now for a couple months.
Yep.
And then that's when all hell broke loose and we had to make changes.
You know, Scott, it's a funny thing. It tends to be, it's one of those things that we are constantly trying to figure out with you guys. Okay? Which is human nature, right? We get something working, things start to improve. We've gone through hell for so long. Whether it's we feel that, we're owed this, where, it's right? Hey, I'm owed to take a break, right?
Yeah, I'm in charge. I should be able to do what I want when I want.
Exactly. So what would you say to somebody that would say that to you right now?
That's a dangerous mindset to have.
What?
There is
Why?
Never, well, I'll quote my brother-in-law, who said, we golf a lot, right? When we can on the weekends. And he said, don't ever think you have the game of golf. You never had it. You never actually had it. You keep trying, but you never got it.
Yeah.
And that's the same with business, right? You've never truly accomplished the greatest. You're never perfect. Business is never done. So that's where I want to keep going and be at all times.
So I love that fucking mindset. Okay. That is the mindset that, Scott, you've seen massive changes on the profit for contractor side, true?
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
Right. Now, I'm just going to be real with everybody. This is one of the core principles. Okay. I don't ever look at myself as some master. I don't. Even when I was a master electrician, I never looked at myself as a master. Scott, I mean, you hear me quite often say, man, I just feel like I'm at the beginning. True?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right. So, guys,
that's where we are.
Right.
We're there right now.
You got it, dude. So everybody on this call, no matter where you're at in your contracting business, from a mindset perspective, it's really important for you to, number one, be humble. Okay. Number two is to not get too cocky. Okay. But come from a different mindset to say, wow, what else could I learn? How else could I be better? Not like I'm done, I know it all. I mean, how many freaking contractors have I talked to where they're like, hey man, yeah, what the fuck? What do you know about this stuff? Okay, well, let me ask you 2 questions. And when they can't answer the questions, they're like, yeah, whatever. What's the big deal? What's the big deal? Dude, if you don't know you're pricing your jobs properly, if you don't know you're doing this properly, if you don't, yeah, but I've gotten this far. What's this far mean? You've been a contractor for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. Yeah. And you're still fucking broke. And you're still in a prison sentence. Well, that's just the way it is. No, it doesn't need to be that way. True, Scott?
Absolutely. No, it doesn't have to be that way at all.
Okay.
And
so
it's a wild game.
It is a wild game, man. And you know, the funny thing is that it's not a game of going out and playing golf. It's a game of people's lives.
Absolutely. You got a team. You got families. You've got everyone involved, right?
This is your livelihood. This is their livelihood. This is your clients. I mean, and look at this. Look at the trade that you're in. And listen, I know every trade. We're fellow Sparkies, okay? But on the electrical side, right? You don't do that job properly and safely. People's lives literally are on the line.
Absolutely. Your employees, the homeowners,
everybody,
the business owners,
totally.
Everybody.
Okay, so let's come back to a couple of things. So, you know, you were running these jobs out of your heads. You were, and that was chaos, right? You were, I'm sure, bringing that stress home. True? You and Rob.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. 100%. Yeah.
Any examples of that?
Not sleeping, and you're second guessing everything you're doing. You're second guessing the structure of the business, right? Like, am I bringing Rob down? Am I the right business partner? Am I doing enough for the company every single day?
Totally. Because you're putting in all this time, all this effort. It's not that you're not working hard. You're working your ass off. You're working harder than you ever have, probably ever, that you did work for somebody else. And you're like, I've got less to show for it, and we start doubting ourselves. How can you not be doubting yourself, right? Yeah, no, and for sure. And you still have those days, just to be clear. That still happens from time to time. Totally. But now it sounds funny, you log on to the group, you have a question in your head, and you just get it out there, and somebody in some form, some part of the world has an answer for you as part of the PFC family. And that's been a huge, huge relief to me, because I'm a questions guy. I'm not a big book learning guy, to be honest. I'm a visual learner. I'll ask a lot of questions and then listen, right? I'm not going to read in a book and do that. I'm going to have somebody tell me what to do and take that advice and do with it what I want. So the group is perfect for me, because I can and I know there's a lot of business owners in the trades that are like that, right? Scott, I'm laughing. I'm laughing because we have the virtual event coming up, right? The Planning Master event, right? Yeah. And I don't know if you heard, but in a couple of videos I mentioned it. We're going to be doing personality tests on you. Okay? And I already know I love this shit, because you're going to start to look at yourself and go, oh my God, This is why I think this way. So everybody listening in, the way that Scott, if you're able to see Scott and his demeanor, you'll notice from an energy perspective, you'll notice, that Scott and I are different. Okay. It actually has to do with our personality profile. It's sort of like our behavioral profile. Like, how do we react to things, right? Okay. So, dude, it's going to be so amazing. The profiling, it's going to give you the insights.
Yeah.
I know I'm segueing a bit here, but it's going to give you insights on not just yourself, but we're going to get you and Rob to do it, right? You're going to be able to easily do it with an employee or who, right? And as well, we're going to be able to use that for sales and communication and so many different things. But anyways, on that note, let's bring it back to a couple of things. So one of the things that you did was getting this stuff out of your head and creating a system. You use something, by the way, everybody listening in, write this down, Trello. Trello. Right, Scott?
Free.
Yeah, that's the best part. How expensive is it, Scott?
It's worth way more than they charge, which is $0.
Guys, so listen up.
Right?
Fucking Trello. Okay, now it's not the end all, the be all. Okay, it's not the perfect this, perfect that. But I'll tell you what the hell it is. It's an awesome tool to get started in creating checklists and systems and easy ways for you to track the jobs you have and where they're at. But I'm going to let Scott tell me a little bit about this Trello. So Cole's Notes version, how are you using Trello and how has it changed, things for you, getting it out of the head into your team's hands? Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, in a nutshell, it's a virtual whiteboard for the entire team, right? So we put up a big giant whiteboard, physical one, in our shop. The problem is not everybody goes to the shop every day, right? So it doesn't get updated all the time. So the guys have iPads, they've got phones. They just pull up Trello, can see, okay, this project's at rough-in stage, this one's at final stage, this one's finished. What tasks do I need to do? What tasks does Rob need to do? It's all there. We can update it. So that's the basic version of what we use it now for.
Right.
We've moved on to a CRM called Jobber.
Yep, that's a great tool, right? There's tons of ones out there, guys. There's Jobber, there's Joyce, there's a whole bunch of stuff. But the point, we started out a lot of clients with Trello. And the reason we started out with Trello is there's no freaking point. And there's another principle. Tell me if I'm right or wrong, Scott. And I'm serious, Scott. If you think I'm wrong, I'm open to hear it. I don't think I know everything. Fuck, I don't. Okay. But listen up, guys. Whether you're looking at a Builder Trend, you're looking at an Asana, you're looking at all these other CRM systems, here's my core message to you. If you can't get yourself in your team to buy in and operate a basic system, okay, it doesn't mean that it's going to address all your needs. So maybe it could be a simple system, a simple checklist, Scott, for material. Hey, need to order this material. So we put all this material in there, put it in Trello. Okay, great. The point is that there's no point in you going to a complex CRM system or even a midline CRM system if you can't even get yourself or your team to use a simple checklist. Would you agree, Scott?
It's funny you say that because that did happen to us.
Isn't that funny? I didn't know that, did I?
Yeah, no,
I didn't.
Well, we were with a much more complicated system at the start, and there was no continuity. Nobody could use it. Nobody understood it. Nobody wanted to. And so we were spending $200+ American a month on something that didn't get used. So we
guys,
canceled that.
Awesome. Okay. So dude, not only did you cancel it and save the $200, but you actually made progress. Okay. So now let's be also clear. Everybody on here, everybody knows this, no matter what country you're in listening to this, right? You got to crawl, right? Before you walk, before you run. Everybody knows this, right? Okay. Scott said something in the beginning I just want to make point on, that there's actually a stage before this. It's actually a whiteboard. So we start with simple things like a whiteboard. Anybody can use a whiteboard. Now, the whiteboard is not going to solve all your problems, but if you can't use, look at this. Here it is, guys. Look, there's a whiteboard right there. Bingo. What do you use that whiteboard for, Scott?
My notes to remind myself on the daily basis what I need to do, and timing and goals.
Everybody look at his direction of focus. Hey, Scott, are you able to turn the power off on that thing?
No, it's staring you in the face all day long.
Interesting. So you can't run away from it, right?
No, I didn't put it back there because I wouldn't see it over there.
You didn't put it in a file folder, did you?
No.
No, you didn't put it on a computer where you can close it.
No, and I have all these.
Guys, sticky notes, simple sticky notes. So the very first thing, guys, I'm giving you some gold here. Look at some of the things that you got to systemize. Look at some of the areas where you're struggling, okay? Is it not knowing what material was ordered? Is it like, oh, fuck, I got to call back this person, okay? So we have different whiteboards. We get our clients, we get the family members at PFC to start at, okay? We got things like, I'm not going to get into the great detail. We get like a sales board. What do you mean sales board? Who have you quoted, and who do you still need to quote? And who do you need to maybe pick up the phone and go, hey, man, did we get the job? I don't know. That might be worth something, okay? Now, oh, man, somebody might go, oh, it won't fit all my sales, won't fit. Okay, that's okay. Do a scaled-down version of it, okay? Again, whiteboard it, then use something similar that's like a whiteboard, like Scott, awesome, I love your description, like Trello. It's a whiteboard, but it's digital. Right?
Yeah.
And then you graduated, and now you're fucking going to a CRM system. Like, Scott, help me out.
Trello.
Huh?
Easy. Yeah. We're still using Trello, too, at the same time.
Right. Okay.
It's just it's the easiest way to communicate with your team.
For a specific area of the business, like the running of the jobs and what has to get done in these jobs. But it's not necessarily being used right now for Scott's to-do list. He's using something else. So a couple of key principles. Start off with basics, no matter what it is you do in your business. The basics, okay? Whiteboard, as an example, to a Trello system that's free, fucking, right? To then a CRM system. Next principle, don't ever let anybody tell you that there's one system that's going to have all your needs.
No, it's
true, Scott.
It is hard to find the right system that works best for you, but they're not all perfect, and you're going to have to find ways to do it.
Guys, okay, everybody listening on this call, combination of whiteboards, a combination of QuickBooks. That's your financials. Well, is that a system? Yeah, it's a fucking system. Okay, a combination of say Trello, a combination. Use whatever pieces, like a fucking F1 car, use whatever pieces make the vehicle go at the speed it can. Does that make sense?
And one tip I would have with even just CRMs, include your team in that process.
Oh my God.
Because I started with another program earlier this year, and it turned out that the mobile app was junk. And they couldn't use it. It did half of what we needed it to do, even though the actual back end of the program was great.
Yep.
The team wasn't going to be able to use it because it didn't do what we needed.
That is great advice, dude.
A month later. So include the team. Half your team is going to be younger guys that are ready to use all the phones, tablets, technology, right? They're the ones that have to use it every day, so you might as well ask them what they think and then go from there.
Totally. And when you're creating your systems team, or everybody listening in, get your team involved in helping you create the system. Right? Make sense, Scott?
Absolutely. Yeah, because you're the one who's just going to be taking all the information, doing what you need with it. They're the ones putting it in.
You got it, man. You got it. So great tips. Okay, let's look at one of the areas we talked about earlier, but let's just get to it. Pricing. Okay. Mm-hmm. How many, like where you were at regarding pricing, you were blind. It was like a guessing game. It was the hope I'm pricing profitably instead of pricing profitably all the time. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So one of the key things you had to figure out, which was new to you, was your break-even margin, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why was that so? Why was that so important for you? And just high level, explain to everybody why it's going to be probably different for everybody.
It's different because we all have different structures to our business, right? Mm-hmm. We run a pretty lean business, I would say. We have a shop that only costs us about $300 a month.
Yep.
And a couple vans and a phone plan.
There you go.
And then you have the other people like accountants, which we'll talk about after, and PFC and all that. But that all makes up your break even. That adds to it, right? You've got to get paid. The bills of the fixed expenses have to get paid. So you don't really know that number until you see it on a piece of paper in like QuickBooks or something. Or your accountant straightens it all out for you, and then you actually know where you're at.
Totally. Right. So everybody, your break-even margin is in a basic term. It's the amount of, there's a couple of different aspects of it. You can look at your break-even sales, or you can look at your break-even margin. Okay. A profit for contractors, the very first place we like to look at is your break-even margin. Okay. Now, your break-even margin is what percentage do you need to, is it 10, is it 20, is it 30, is it 40, what percentage you have to put on your quotes to make sure that all those expenses, that whether you got a sale or not, like and I'm going to amplify this one, okay? Yes, there's the hydro, yes, there's the bell, yes, there's all those things, right? Your lease, stuff like that you have to pay regardless of you getting a sale. But there's one that Scott highlighted that I don't think on these podcasts I've ever amplified it enough. It's paying yourself. Everyone's like, what? Yeah. How many contractors do we talk to? Big, small, you name them all. And do you think, right, Scott, that you guys factor in what your value is worth, what you should be getting paid? That was you, right, Scott?
So my comment about the money we were losing was not doing the math, the simple math, to find out, hey, we have to get paid too. And so our salaries came off that bottom number. It didn't matter what it wasn't enough. And so Rob and I were literally working for free, which I know you preach that. Don't work for free. We were doing it for 3.5 years.
Yep.
Now, building the business, what we kept telling ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? We're doing the best for the company.
You know, I call that having a job.
Yeah.
Do you know why? You know what the acronym for job is for me? Just over broke. By the way, that's a bad job. And I'm deadly serious. I might hurt some feelings on this podcast right now. Sorry. Actually, I'm not even going to fucking apologize. I'm not going to say sorry. I'm going to say what I'm going to say because I care about you. Okay? If you're not willing to raise your hand, that could be you clicking down below, getting help. It could be you downloading the Pricing for Profits guide, which shows you the formula, shows you like how to figure it out with examples. Like seriously, guys, not like you're, oh my God, Andrew's trying to sell me something. No, it's fucking free. Okay, you can join the Contractor Tips group. The tools are there. Go use them. Okay, but here's the reality: if you're not willing to reach out for help, whether that's through your accountant, your bookkeeper, whether that's yourself, to find out what your break-even margin is to make sure you're pricing your jobs profitably, honest to God, this is my advice to you. Do not be a business owner. You're sacrificing yourself, your family, your team, your clients. You're sacrificing like Scott did for 3 fucking years. But if you're not, oh man, I don't like math. I don't like this. Listen, this is basic math, but it's still math. If you're not willing to go and learn that stuff, and if I hear I don't have time for it, quit being a business owner. Go work for somebody else. Why? You're going to make a shitload more money. You're going to have a lot less stress. Okay, and you're not going to be putting all those other people around you at risk. Okay, Scott, what would you say to that?
It's vital to know all of this to run the business. Because
what would you say to somebody who said that? Listen, yeah, whatever. I'm not going to take the time to do that. I don't have time to do that right now. What would you say to them? I mean, you heard my side of it. What would you say?
I'm going to say you're going to need to make a whole lot more than $1.2 million to make it all back. That was just 1 year, he said. That's not 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 years of, I'll figure it out.
Yep. Here's the reality is, right, Scott, that you run out of roadmap. You will run out of runway, okay? Or you will constantly just be struggling and struggling. So you're asking yourself, why is it that I'm doing all these sales and my bank account's not up? Okay, if any of these are symptoms, these are not the problem. My bank account's not going up, right, Scott?
Yeah.
I got no cash flow. I'm running around with my freaking head cut off, and I can't keep up with everything. Right? Okay. I'm dropping the ball. My team's dropping the ball because we don't know what's going on. Okay. If any of those things are resonating with you guys, one of the core things that you have to look at is your break-even margin. You have got to be pricing your jobs profitably, because if you do not price your job profitably, you are fucked no matter how good of a job that you do. What do I mean by that, Scott?
Like, no matter how, and I had this conversation with Mr. Goville. I said, we're putting so much into this business, but not getting back what we believe is not owed to us, but we're not getting back what we believe we put into the company.
Yes.
Right? And as an owner, you should get back far more than what you actually do put into it. That's how good businesses run. Totally. Right? And no, we're not. And thankfully, we're not there yet. We still have room to go. I say thankfully because there's still a lot to learn. There's still a lot to do.
Okay, well, I'm gonna give you some brutal, well, not brutal, but I'm gonna give you some reality. Sometimes people come on this podcast, like family members here, they don't know what to expect. I don't actually know exactly where it's gonna go, and this might be a little bit of Scott maybe going red in the face or not. I don't know, but guess what? The things that I tell you guys isn't because I'm trying to be some dictator. The things I'm telling you is not because I'm trying to be, hey, I know it all. It's not. It's because I care about you, because I was fucking there. Okay? Because I don't want Scott, a good guy like Scott, to go through another 3 years of like, what the fuck, and his wife and his kid, and going, what is going on? To all of a sudden it's a blink. It's like, I can't afford college. I can't afford university. I can't afford to do these things I want to do with my kids. I can't afford to give my wife and my family the lifestyle that they deserve. I mean, guys, you blink, and some of you listening in, you've already blinked, right? And you sacrificed time away from the kids, time away from the wife. Like, okay, so now let's focus on Scott. Let's focus on you. Scott, sure as hell, and you're going to hear it on this virtual event, you cannot get your business to give you the value that you deserve and Rob deserves with the size of company that you are right now. The minimum,
Absolutely.
What's that?
Absolutely.
You got it. The minimum number, everybody listening in, is 5. Lucky 5. What? Where the fuck does Andrew come up with 5? I'll tell you where the 5 is. Okay. You need an admin person. Definitely. You need an admin person. Okay. That's one of the most important roles of a freaking contracting company. And Scott, you and I have had a chat about this, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
Right. So whether that means, Andrew, we got to go out and find a full-time admin. I never said find a full-time admin. If all you need right now is to get 10 hours back, go find a 10-hour admin. Then a 20, then a 30. Because anytime you guys are touching shit that's admin, it is not CEO value, and it is below your freaking pay grade. Okay? Your profits and your cash flow follow your calendar. Look at that. He's got it right there. What's it say?
Admin tasks.
You got it.
This is the list for our future admin person that we're going to start looking for.
Beautiful, dude. Okay? Because Scott was given a game plan. Let's go and identify, reflect over over a certain period of time. What are the tasks that are going on right now in the business that are admin driven? Perfect. Add up the amount of time that it takes to do those tasks. By the way, an admin person that knows what they're doing will do it in half the time that you do it. But anyways, we add it up and we go, okay, I'm doing 5 hours, 15 hours, right? Now that becomes billable for you, right, Scott?
Absolutely.
Totally.
That's time you can charge.
Totally. So guys, we need admin people. We need, an owner, or, let's just say call that the owner's hat. Maybe that's shared between Rob, right? We need, a couple of licensed people, an apprentice, and maybe a helper. But with 5 people, trust me, because I've been there, and we've helped so many contractors. Look, there's people listening in, they're like, I got 100 employees. Perfect. But are you able to run 5 even efficiently and profitably? If you can't, well, just because you have 100 doesn't mean that you're that much better. It means maybe you're that much worse as far as having problems, right? Okay. So now one of the things that you did though, Scott, is this is some of the other things you did was you identified the roles and responsibilities, true?
Yeah. Yeah. That was key. So we weren't both running in different directions doing the same thing.
So tell me about that. Like, was that a hard thing to have that kind of conversation? I mean, I'm not trying to put that on you and say it was, but was it,
It wasn't, because the thing with Rob and I, we are always on the same page in terms of where we want to go. And then we have that common goal and want to get there together. But then thankfully we're both driven individuals to get it all done, but we trip over each other with the same tasks. So we decided to sit down and figure out who should do what role.
Right.
And so Rob enjoys and is very good at running the job site management side of things, right? So he will make sure, right now we have 2 apprentices, where we have 1. He'll make sure that whoever's on the job is all set up with what they need. And then he can go out and do quotes and look at jobs or talk to different people that need to be called or invoiced or whatnot.
Right.
That was happening. Then now I do all the invoicing and drop all the estimates and make sure that the bills are paid, the invoicing.
Oh man, that's going to change.
Exactly. So where we're at now is Rob has his roles, I have my roles.
Right.
And it works very well. But we understand we only have 1 guy in the company that works consistently 35 hours a week or more on the tools.
Okay. Love it. Rob
on the float, right?
Yep.
Between the 2.
Cool. So let me give everybody listening, I'm giving you guys gold. I mean, actually, I'm not. Scott is, okay? He's pulling it. We're bringing this to the table. So I got to be crystal clear on this one. You need to define your roles and responsibility. Let me be clear, not your roles. I'll take that back. You need to define the roles and responsibilities of your company. Now, Scott, we're going to be going through this on the virtual event, okay? And we revisit this over and over, especially this time of the year, right? To look at where are we going to be going next year, right? Everybody listening in, there's about 80% of the roles that every contracting company has. I'm not going to go through them all. I'm just going to give you a couple examples that you go, yeah, okay, and then I'm going to explain my point. There's the admin side, okay? Let's just say that's the office work, that's the invoicing, that's the making sure that guys are getting paid, that's making sure we're collecting the information, making sure, okay, all that kind of stuff, okay? Admin stuff, okay? Then there's the project management side of things. Then there's a foreman role. I like to separate project management from foreman. By the way, I'm not saying how many employees you have. I'm telling you how many roles you have. Scott knows where I'm going with this. There's helpers, there's apprentices, right? What else is there, right? You need an accountant, you need a bookkeeper, right, Scott? Right.
Absolutely, and a good one.
And a good one, absolutely, okay?
I believe we know how that feels.
You got it, dude, right? There's a sales and marketing component to your company. If you're not doing marketing and sales, you don't have a business, okay?
No.
There is there's the CEO or CEOs. There's the owners, okay? Now, there's other key roles, but you guys are getting the point. Now, why am I talking about that? You have to identify these roles as far as what are the results you want out of those roles and what are the duties of those roles. Even though you might only have, in Scott's case, 2 or 3 people working for the company, I just said like 5 or 6 different roles. You're like, okay, Andrew, what the hell? What are you talking about? It's super important that you identify those roles because then we need to put names to them. Right, Scott?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And
You got to tag people with a job.
you got it. And so Scott's name is on a whole bunch of hats. All of you guys are wearing a bunch of hats. And in most cases, you're wearing what? Too little hats or too many, Scott?
Too many little hats.
You bingo. Too many little hats. Fucking well said. Love it. Gold, Jerry. Gold. If you do not identify those hats and the hats you're wearing and the roles of those hats, you'll never be able to scale your contracting business. Why is that, Scott?
Because you're not going to have enough time to make sure that it's going to scale.
You got it. Okay? You're not going to have enough time to scale it. You cannot be wearing all those hats and scale a business to optimize its profitability if you're wearing all those hats. Now, also the reality, you can read all these books. Oh, you should only have one hat and this and bullshit. Okay, that's bullshit. You're like, what? I can't believe Andrew said that. No, it's bullshit. Okay, I wear more than one hat. And this business is super systemized, but it's also scaling. I wear more than one hat. I always will wear more than one hat. Why? I'm a small business. I'm a small business owner, okay? I'm not a Google. I'm not a fucking, right? I'm not an Apple where we can go, oh, every hat has a person. So sometimes there's going to be cases where people, even when you scale your business, you're going to be wearing one or more hats. As an example, CEO of a company in the contracting realm, he might not be doing quotes down to the level of doing quotes, but the CEO of a contracting company tends to always have some little flair of sales and marketing. Because they're the visionary. They're the person that sees, oh man, they're also out there. They're the face, right, of the company. So make sure you identify the roles, guys, so that you can identify, right, Scott? And like we did on the call you and I had, and go, wait a second. I'm doing $17 or $20 an hour freaking tasks. Right, Scott?
Yeah. It's, you got to get those off your plate.
Yes, because what are the things, let's talk about your future. What are some of the things that you're going to replace those things with, Scott, that are more than $20 a freaking hour?
So, I mean, we're for instance, hiring new employees. That's not something that should be taken lightly at all, because they are a lifeline in your business, or your clients and your employees.
Yep.
Because without good employees, you don't have clients, because clients will leave. Right. So one of the high level CEO roles is finding the right people for the business.
Because people make you money, right, Scott?
Absolutely.
Well, now they do.
Yeah. And you want to continue to do that, right? You don't want to add someone who's just going to drop that number down.
You got it. So
that's one of the roles.
Bingo. Okay. What's next? What's next on the horizon as far as the future, as far as things that you're going to focus in on? Could you take some of that time in the interim and cover some of the stuff that Rob maybe needs help with, and actually maybe do some of the work, because now your billable goes up? Is that true?
Yeah. And so that's kind of where we're at present day. So we actually hired a new apprentice. He starts on Monday. Sweet. Which is exciting.
Nice.
Yeah, so it'll take a bit of pressure. Instead of we have a fifth year who's almost licensed, and then Rob and myself. So speaking of roles and tasks, our fifth year apprentice does not need to wear the hat of strapping tech cable to the side of the building, right? That can be done by a first year apprentice.
You got that right.
So it's starting to leverage our more senior apprentices, almost journeymen, into the role of, okay, now it's time to let someone else step into your role and do the lesser tasks. Not lesser, but easier tasks that are manageable. So,
you know what? Like, let's just pause for a second. I have these little breakthroughs, I'm sure as you know, on these podcasts, right? Like, there's stuff that I bring up and I've never brought up before, okay? That's part of the reason I love these podcasts. I'll be honest with you, it's a little bit selfish too, right? Like, it's stimulating. I just love it. I love talking with great people like you, Scott, okay? That are willing to do the work, willing to put the pride aside, willing to freaking get the shit done, willing to see things differently, and not really, think beyond, and also think beyond themselves as far as the benefit of everybody, right? Like we talked about, okay? Everybody around them. So think about this, everybody. Picture those roles, right, that I described. Now imagine if all those roles consistently went up, okay? Just think about this. Went up by like 1%, 2%, 4%, 5%, as far as their value. So in Scott's case, got a 5th-year apprentice. Now he's going to be able to bill that person out more. See, guys, watch where the money happens here. That means he's going to be able to make more profits. First-term apprentice, right, is going to be doing things at a first-term level, and he's going to be doing the strapping that the 5th term was doing. But now the 5th term is making more money, and now they're able to increase their capacity because now they got the 5th term and the first term working on the things they're supposed to be working on, and working on things that match the value of their ability.
That's it. That's the key.
And then it goes up again, and then it goes up again, and then it goes up again. Now, one of the things, Scott, that we focus in on with you is the slow down to speed up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So one of the things that you did, which is very smart, I mean, you followed the process, you followed the system, is we need to make sure that the business we have right now is profitable. Because guys, right? And that's what you did, true?
Yeah. Yeah, we now know.
Okay.
You made it happen.
Yes, you made it happen. So you went from refresh. Again, you guys want to get some more insights and tools and what have you? Just click the link below, and you can get into the contractor tips group on this stuff. But Scott, let's just refresh this. So your net profit went up by 56%.
Yeah.
Your gross profit went up by how much again?
76%.
Everybody listening in, and that was with 7 months. This is from an annual perspective, right?
Yeah, this is fiscal year.
Right.
Started ended September 30th.
Perfect. And that was with 7 months of bad pricing.
Yeah, from October to May.
Where do you think you'll be with 12 months of the current profit model that you have right now?
So, hopefully we ran from that period of time from May till September 30th at a 33% net profit. So with the proper pricing, we increased 9% alone.
Right.
Just in May.
So you imagine 12 months of being like every month being profitable?
Yeah. Game
changer, right?
Absolutely. It and when you see that number and see that you've hit it on a consistent basis, I say that, and you have to, when you're checking your books on a monthly basis, this is so to not stress everybody out. It is important to check your numbers all the time to make sure that they are going properly. Some jobs run 2 months, 1 month, 2 months, right? Our issue was that our P&L, profit and loss statement, looked like a roller coaster ride because it would go up, the numbers would be high, then it would dip for a month, and then it would go back up and dip. The problem is we weren't consistently able to continue quoting, right? So we would quote, win, win, win. And then we had to get the work done. So then the quoting fell, the sales fell, and you started the cycle over again. So
the teeter-totter, right? Tip.
Yeah.
Tip.
Yeah, exactly. So the goal going forward is to keep that on an upward trajectory at all times.
Totally.
It's going to drop sometimes because of unforeseen circumstances, but you want to keep going in the right direction.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. Little tip on your profit and loss statement, everybody. Your profit and loss statement, as Scott said, is dealing with a specific window of time. Okay? There's a lot of things that you can pull from it, and there's certain things you don't want to pull from it. Okay? So here's a couple of tips. Your profitability on your P&L statement is not directly correlated to how much cash flows come in. So be careful. If you think you're highly profitable, it doesn't mean that you've collected the money of that profit. Okay, so that's one little thing. So if you're struggling with cash flow, you're looking at your P&L and you're going, but I was profitable. I'm like, well, yeah, but you know that those 2 big jobs you did, one was 50,000, one was 30,000? Yeah. Have you collected that 50 and 30? No. Well, who paid for all the material? Oh. Who paid the guys? Oh. Who paid the taxes? Oh. Yeah. Who paid everything It hasn't been paid yet. Oh. So be careful, right? This is why you want to engage with, whether it's with us, and by the way, let's touch on some of these experts. Let's touch on this before we start wrapping it up. Let's just touch on the experts, right? So tell me some of the experts we've got who have helped you at Profit for Contractors and some of their geniuses and insights that they've helped you with.
Yeah. So long story short, we were with an accountant that had our books so screwed up that we didn't have a chance at knowing our numbers.
Totally. And
we were introduced early on in late 2019 to Mr. Bob Govro at Govro Associates.
Yep. And
we started with him January 1st. Started the year brand new.
Which is one of our partners, right? So, right, we got Shauna, that's a coach from Govro, and every week you guys can tap into on the bookkeeping and accounting side, correct?
Yeah, and so he and Shauna more recently, I've been working with her a lot, and they straightened our books out early in the year to give us a clean slate. We knew where we were at, and that helped a lot. He managed to get us $5,600 check from the government back because of poor filings from our last accountant, like instantly. And then we knew where we were, which was in trouble. So that really helped. And then there's guys like Matt, Coach Matt. So COVID hit, and that was a crazy, crazy time. And Matt is the mindset coach,
right? And
he did a lot to help through a lot of different aspects, right? You've got family issues that are affecting your business life. You've got business issues that are affecting your family life. You've got doubt, self-doubt. Matt's there to always kind of help you through things, which has been great. Sean and Bob, Rick, he's great in his shirts. Love the shirts.
Yeah, I know, it's awesome.
So Rick, the sales guy, he's been awesome.
Well, Rick has his own. He's owned his own plumbing business, right? It was a family business, and so. Our coaches and I'm highlighting this so that you guys understand that there's people out there, okay? Whether it's through us or what have you, find somebody that has this level of help, right? People that have been there, have done it, have gotten results, okay? So Rick is an owner of a contracting company, and he helps out people, right, like yourself. What were some of the little quick tips let's just say areas that he's helped you out with?
So Rick specifically was helping me figure out the admin role. So we didn't quite. There's some factors that held us back from moving on that right away, but the basis of the thought process of getting an admin staff, he helped as well further along that process, which was amazing. And then I most recently had a meeting with the notorious Mr. Jay Carter, and that was an exciting time. And so since then, we've given his referrals. We started up with Leads for Trades, which is amazing. So cool. They're running a recruitment campaign to hire a journeyman electrician for us right now, and the whole bit. It's been amazing. And I know that this is kind of about our business, but I will say, Andrew, like I was talking with Liam about this, since I joined last year, you guys have added so much value to the PFC family. It's crazy, right? There wasn't a single coach I just listed here that was here.
That's correct.
Last year. Yep. You've added all of that since about January. So we thank you. And I know the PFC community will say thank you as well.
Absolutely, dude. Like,
we would not be here if it wasn't for PFC.
Well, you know what? I appreciate you saying that. If you're gonna get help from people, and again, guys, don't think I know it all. There's no fucking way. I don't know it all. Okay, and I see that as a strength when people look at things that way, as we talked about earlier. Surround yourself with people that have been there, are doing it, and are getting the results. So if you're engaging with some form of a coaching company, that's awesome. You're raising your hand. But if you don't see them scaling, if you don't see them putting systems in place, if you don't see them, being what I call as being congruent with the principles in which they teach. Like, oh man, the guy that helps me, hey, he helps me, it's great. But wait a second, he's a one-man show. And he's telling me to build a team. And he's telling me about all these roles and responsibilities and value of time. You really want to question yourself, because you've got to be doing it. Okay, Scott, you're doing it. You're on the journey. You're making progress. We got you to get your business to be profitable for where you're at. And everybody listening in, this is one of the most important lessons you need to get out of this podcast. Do not scale your fucking contracting business in the sense of let's get more sales. No. If you cannot get yourself to be profitable with the sales you have, get less sales. What? Yeah, get less sales, okay? And get more profitable sales and make your jobs more profitable. Scale down the scale up. What do I mean by that, Scott?
Yeah, prime example. We didn't add any more sales this year, right? We actually, I think, pulled less permits this year than we did last year. And we upped it by, 56%?
Dude, that's fucking crazy. Right?
Like we did, maybe 10 grand, which is two nice jobs out of the entire year. That's the only difference in revenue we made. See, but 56% more profit. Dude,
because you're leveraging data, you're leveraging numbers, you're leveraging a process, you're leveraging experts, right? Guys, $3 million bucks at 10% net, ready? Is the same as 2 million at 15. You're like, huh? Yeah. It's the same at 1 million at 30. Which one do you want? As a contractor, I'll take the million at 30. Why? Less trucks, less overhead, less having to quote, less, more control. Now, you want to bring that up to 2? Go for it. But if you can't get that going, like Scott, now Scott's able to hire people because he knows that what he's doing consistently is going to generate profits. So slow down the speed up, guys. Scale down the scale up. And any last words you want to say, Scott, or any last little things you want to highlight here?
I would say know your bottom number before you set your top number. And so what I mean by that is, as you just said, know your profitability, know where it's at before you say, I want to go out and make $10 million in sales. Because there's no point in doing that 10 million if that bottom number ends up negative or is less than it needs to be.
Totally. And as Scott was reminded, the loss, in other words, the ability to lose profits in a contracting business is exponentially easy. I'm not going to paint a fucking rosy color for you guys. It's exponentially easy because there's so many areas that you can lose profit, from the pricing to the running of the job to the clients to the right, Scott? Okay. Material, you name it. Part 2 of that is the road to recovery of paying off those lost profits is fucking exponential. In Scott's case, it would have been 2 years worth of freaking work at 10 points, and he wasn't even at 10 points. Everybody getting this? Like years and years and years and years where you never catch up, okay? Know your numbers, know where to start, scale down the scale up, okay? And, on the personal side, it's you've got a wife, right? Am I right? You've had your first child, right? Didn't you?
9 weeks on Sunday.
Congratulations, dude.
Yeah, thank you. So it's added not pressure, but there's more drive, right? There's just that turning up the dial even that much more. Mm-hmm. You want to do the things you want to do in life.
How has this, wrapping this up on the personal side, share whatever you want or don't, okay, obviously. But how does your wife, I'm not sure how much you talk to her about the business and things of that nature, but I mean, how has this changed her perspective of you being a business owner?
Yeah, it's been, she sees it. She knows it all the time, right? It's been, 2020 has been one of the best, worst years ever. For me personally. Anyway,
We're actually worse than best, right?
Exactly. So heading into like when our daughter Willow was born, right, with having to go to the hospital, be there for a couple of days, can't leave. Had my business not, our business, or my business not been profitable, not been running fine, I don't know how I would have felt. I would have been so distracted. I would have been stressed out the entire time. Instead, I got to appreciate it all, take it all in, and then structure it so that I could actually be away for the next kind of 2 weeks to do my own thing, be home, do quotes here and there from home, but I was able to be the person, the husband, the father I was able to be. So that's been amazing.
Awesome, dude. Awesome. So I get a little bit choked up on that stuff because this is why we do it, right? Like, guys, like our businesses, man, can be a prison sentence, an invisible prison sentence, and it doesn't need to be that way. And this is my final words, and then I'll let Scott do his final word is this. We are in a place right now of time where being a contractor is probably, it's one of the greatest opportunities for you guys to make the money that you're worth, that to really be able to take your business to give you the freedom, the control, the wealth that you want. There's a massive shortage of skilled tradespeople. There's going to be even more of a shortage of skilled tradespeople. You guys are in major demand, and over the next 10 years, just to let you know, it's going to be one of the greatest exodus of freaking small businesses in the history of humankind. Okay? So imagine how many of those businesses are trades businesses. So get your business working so that you can get on that train of benefiting from this situation. Okay? We're not in a depression. We're not in a place where like there's too many tradespeople. There will never be, guys. Where and again, I'm not bashing immigrants or anything of that nature, but the reality is that like in Ontario or Canada or the U.S. or wherever you're at, you've got to be licensed for that area. Like, guys, there's so much going for us. The key is to make it go for you, right? Scott, what would your last words be if there's somebody who's listening and they're like, I don't know if I should reach out for help or whatever? What would you say?
There's no easy way to put it. If you own a small contracting business right now, you should contact somebody from PFC.
Well, whether it's us or somebody, right? Exactly. Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
If you're a business owner, like you likely don't know everything because you need the help, even if it's figuring out that you don't know what you think you know.
Beautiful.
Right?
Yep.
So, or in my case, it was I knew I didn't know certain things, and I needed somebody to tell me and help me do it, and that's where we are now. So I recommend getting help in some form for your business.
Yeah, totally, dude. I mean, think, I talk about this all the time, leapfrogging decades of the days. I mean, Rick giving you, here's what the admin role is. Here, I'm going to help you with this, Jay sitting down with you, going through like, whether it's here, let's use leads for trades. Let's do this. Let's do, like, dude, you actually have, just to put things in the perspective, you have a business that's probably 2-3x the size, and yet you didn't even have to hire 2-3x the people. Is that true?
Absolutely.
You got experts in your back corner. You got bookkeep. You got accounting. You got mindset. You got like what? You got a whole team of people to help you. True?
You got a marketing department, a sales department, a bookkeeper, accountant, right?
You do.
Life coach.
Totally.
Yeah.
Dude. So guys, don't do it alone, right? And you don't have to do it all, right? Don't do all the fucking heavy lifting. Too much. All right, brother. Catch you on the flip side. Cool?
I'll see you later.
Bro. Ciao.
Thanks.